Benefactor underwriting for this broadcast has been provided by a grant from Republic Bank. The power of red is back. Major underwriting support for this broadcast has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance, Customers Bank, Collins Building Services, Marks Paneth. Additional underwriting support has been provided by grants from AmTrust Title, Bank of America, Capital One Bank, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties LLC, Handler Real Estate Organization, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Casamatides Red Apple Group, New Banks, Meridian Capital Group, Ocean First Bank, RPW Group, TD Bank, the One Stop Property Group, and these friends. It's called the Nutmeg State. It's nearby, but people really don't know enough about Connecticut. So today, with the help of my executive producer, my long-term friend Michael Belfonti, the founder and CEO of the Belfonti Companies, we're talking about what's happening in Connecticut, developments, changes, and so on. Next to him is the banker over here, Big Bob Palermo, who is the Senior Vice President and head of commercial real estate for Bankwell shares, Bankwell Banks. And last but not least, the 800-pound gorilla with close to 4 million square feet of office space, industrial manufacturing space, Mark Fasano, who is a managing member of RD Scinto. Okay. Since you're the executive producer and brought everybody over here, why does Connecticut have a bad rap, as you were saying before? It's a great place to be, and you, being the Connecticut Yankee, would prefer to tell me why the rap was bad over the years and why it's changing now.
Well, I think for a long time the Connecticut politics have been against business, and I think that's changing now. I think that Governor Lamont has done a great job. We have another gentleman by the name of David Lehman, who's the head of economic development for the state. We've become a pro-business state, which has been wonderful. Eds and meds, we have great universities. We have great hospitals, Hartford Health and Yale New Haven Hospital, and we have great research with biotech, a lot of joint ventures with Yale in the biotech field. And as you know, Stanford is in Lower Fairfield County is doing just very, very well because a lot of people are getting out of New York and looking for an alternative. So I would say that Connecticut is definitely on the rebound. We're all very bullish about Connecticut. We're all doing developments in Connecticut, and we like the Nutmeg State.
Now, you've been in business for over 40 years, correct?
Pretty close, yes.
Okay. So let's talk about where are your properties and what type of tenants do you have and who are your largest tenants?
So we're hands-on developers, so we like to be within 20 minutes of whatever we own, so we actually physically go there almost on a daily basis. But we focus on Eastern Fairfield County, and that's where the labor is, that's where the housing is, and it's much more affordable there. So the founder, Bob Scinto, 40 years ago, went up to Shelton, Connecticut, which was basically a farmland, and but more importantly, the last town in Fairfield County. So you got the snob appeal of your corporation could say Fairfield County. So today, you know, almost 4 years later, in 4 million feet, it's still a pretty vibrant area. Our biggest customers, our biggest tenants are financial services, Prudential, Sikorsky, Defense Sikorsky, and private Sikorsky, private helicopters. And Yale New Haven, we have a lot of medical space. And that although challenge going forward, we'll see what happens as we go forward, as these leases renew.
So what do you see as the challenges going forward?
Keeping the buildings full, because everybody wants half space between.
So it's due to COVID or working from home? What do you see?
Well, COVID caused it, but the technology now allows people to work from home. And with the tight labor market, you're hearing that they want to work from home. So what's happening is the tenants are saying we can get away with half the space, and they create this hotel space, they call it, and you plug in 3 days a week and you take away the family pictures.
Well, what's interesting, you're talking about hoteling, which
Yes.
is the plug-in play, which probably the accounting firms did about 20 years ago. They started it over there. Hoteling is not coming back in New York to speak of. People are working in a different manner, but they're not plug and play. But they are working a couple of days a week, but not in the hoteling concept over there.
Yeah, they anticipate, they want people to come back to the office. The work from home thing generally was a failure. From a societal standpoint, from a productive standpoint, from a training standpoint. And you're hearing that this morning in New York, right? All the Wall Street guys are making people go back. And they feel that they need that. But again, as these leases, all the leases we have that renew, somebody gives us space back. So our challenge is to backfill the space.
So how do you as developers and people involved over there get new tenants to come into the space if we don't have those industries over there? I mean, the good thing that Michael just brought up was the fact that the governor and the economic development is trying to gear businesses. So you have to create incentives. So are you providing is the government providing incentives
No.
for tax credits for employees and so on?
No, the government is totally hands-off in our world. And some of the, for instance, we're building an 80,000-foot warehouse right now for a Cleveland company. And so the state of Connecticut gave them a holiday on the sales taxes for building the building. They spent a bunch of money to keep charter in Stanford. They built that
Right.
huge.
Some incentives.
So the big companies, the state, but for a 10,000 footer or 12,000 footer, it's just.
When you're talking to me about Yale New Haven, they're not leaving the state, okay? Their foothold is there.
Right.
They may be increasing their foothold.
Expanding.
Expanding within the state, and they're also expanding into New Jersey, into other markets,
Right.
okay?
What-
Because they have this power.
What COVID taught the tenants is that people could work in less space and chop their overhead. And some people can work from home 2 days a week and then come into the office 3 days a week. So if I'm a tenant and I'm paying $100,000 a year and I cut my space in half, now it's only $50,000 a year. So that's what COVID taught us, or taught the tenant.
So
anyway.
what has COVID taught with regard to development, because you're both in residential business? Are you changing the size of your apartments because people are now working at home and they may need more space because they're not coming to the office?
We don't do that.
We're bulking up mostly on amenity space. So we're making the amenity space bigger and putting a business center in the clubhouse and, breakout rooms where people could leave their apartment and come to the amenity space and they don't have to be.
Or are you building, let's say, a den so they can have a little work area?
I think the size of the units have gotten a little bigger, but it's mostly amenities. We're attracting people because of amenities is the big push.
Now,
Some of the financing that we're doing, we're seeing what would be a second bedroom, maybe be a smaller, but den and home office.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what about adaptive reuse? Okay, for example, you're doing something, the former Ames headquarters, right?
Yes, that matter of fact, Bob is going to be doing the loan for us on that. It's a 12-acre parcel. It's a 250,000 square foot dilapidated building.
What city is it in?
It's in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, that we're going to be knocking down. We've gotten 213 units approved with a mixed-use component of about 20,000 feet.
Was it 5-story or 6-story?
No, three-story. No, well, actually, 2 of the buildings do have elevators, but mostly it's just walk-up. But it's the new town center for Rocky Hill, and the town was very excited about it. In that particular case, we had the zoning in place, which was wonderful because usually you don't in Connecticut. It's not easy to
So
get.
when you call it a town center, is it in addition to residential, is it going to have some retail?
Yes, a
component
mixed
also?
use. There'll be about 20,000 square feet of office and retail, 15,000 feet of retail as part of the project.
Now, with your large portfolio, do you have any retail component or very?
Very small. The only retail that we got involved with was to enhance the amenities to the office park. So it's got a bar and a restaurant, and it's horrible retail. There's no credit. You know, you chase
Right,
people for
it's
rents.
local, right. It's amenity retail that you have to chase the tenants.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the only retail from what I could see. That's the only retail that's out there anymore. I mean, the retail doesn't know what it is anymore.
How is the bank looking at
Well,
financing?
Retail and office, both, I will group those together, are challenging to finance today by themselves. If they are involved in a project, like a mixed-use project, it's easier to certainly get financed. But straight-up office is hard today.
Let's talk-
Values are not what they were. Cap rates are going up.
Interest rates are going
Interest
up.
rates are going up, for sure.
Now, what about other adaptive reuse have you been doing?
Not taking office buildings per se and converting those to apartments. We were brought an opportunity the other day on an office building, and by the time you actually gut the building, reskin the building, put the apartments in, it's almost more expensive than to actually build a new one.
It's an interesting
Sure.
topic. I teach this course at the SISM School of Business of Yeshiva, and we had a developer on the course, and he was saying, I said to him, his name happened to be Joe Moynihan, I said, if you convert some of your office buildings to residential, you'll get X dollars. He says, if I convert them, when it's an office building, I have a loss factor. So I get a premium because of the loss factor. When I make it residential, I have a negative loss factor, okay? So it doesn't work out that way, okay? Because I can't charge for the elevators and everything else. I can only actually charge for the physical space. So it's a difficult fact of conversion of office. The only way that you can see a conversion on an office to residential is to knock down the entire building
Right.
and rebuild from scratch and take that into consideration.
Very expensive to do rehab.
Yeah, it's more. It's 1.5 times in my experience. We did a large reuse about 4 years ago. What I'm seeing is all these old corporations in Lower Fairfield County are trying to get rid of their real estate and move into nicer offices and just get rid of the real estate. And so the challenge is, what do you do with the real estate? Because a lot of it's corporate office. Like that thing in Danbury that Charney did at Summit Development, the old Union Carbide facility.
Yep.
Bought that. I know.
Put a bunch of tenants in, small tenants, but trying to use a corporate facility, which talk about a loss factor.
200,000 square feet, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's way bigger.
Probably more. No, 1 million.
It's about 1 million square feet,
Millions.
right?
And what they converted to?
Multi-tenant.
Got a lot of tenants to fit in over a period of time.
And actually, they just did a big deal with the Danbury Hospital for a little bit. But that's where I see the reuse is. I don't know if you see. But,
We've seen one conversion of a 2-story office building into self-storage.
What about the last mile, okay, especially since you have land, okay, that you can use, and you do have Amazon and other companies, or these 800-pound gorillas who need the distribution, okay, Walmart needs the distribution, all these other companies. Are you seeing some things, properties being changed to the last mile distribution?
Oh yeah, tons of them everywhere. What's happened now, though, is they've gotten a little smart, and they're doing it themselves because they are miserable that when they see guys like us make a buck off of their lease, and they say, "Well, these guys aren't that smart. We can do it ourselves," and they don't know.
No, I know that in Westchester, the Wegmans opened up, the Lifetime Fitness. Are you seeing that type of elements of the new type of those companies coming to Connecticut?
Wegmans is trying to get a very large project approved in Norwalk right now. I don't know what it is, but I know it's a Wegmans, but I don't know if there's anything attached to it. But that'll be their first deal in Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
Right. I mean, Wegmans, when they went to Westchester, where they got significant tax advantages, 30-year tax abatements and everything else, they built a 150,000 square foot facility. So, we're talking about huge things, and are also good for the community for development over there. What else do you see in the horizon, the opportunities for developer in Connecticut, Michael?
I think mostly residential, Mike. I would tell you that. There's a huge demand. Product hasn't been built in Connecticut for many, many years, probably 30 years. There was something called an 830G program that the state actually mandated, which trumped any municipality, which had an affordable component. That's gone, and now people realize, or municipalities realize, that they need residential to grow. And I think it's become finally easier to get approvals in Connecticut. But there's this pent-up demand that just has not, has been building and building, especially in the New Haven area, where Yale is expanding, and people need places to live. And these are people that are renters by choice. Not renters because they need to rent. A lot of empty nesters are selling their homes so they could rent. Young couples are renting. People sometimes would rather put money in the bank as opposed to go buy a house. The American dream, if you will, is teetering. Pricing is just too high to get into a home. Interest rates are going up, like we talked about, and it's very hard to own a home today. So people would rather rent.
What about senior housing? Two types of senior housing: 55 and older rental and for sale, and senior housing in the form of, assisted living, age growing up.
There's an interesting psychographic with senior living. If you're 55, you don't want to live with a bunch of old people. You want to live with a bunch of 30-year-olds, so you feel younger. The ones that I see that are successful are the 3 tiers, where you have an independent living,
right,
and then you have a assisted living, and then a memory care. And those seem to be the ones where you go through the 3 stages. We own an independent living facility in Middletown, Connecticut, and it's hard because after the people leave there, it's into an assisted living facility, but we don't have one to help them.
So you have the independents. So
just the independent.
They have to go to a different facility.
They'd have to go to, especially for memory care, yeah.
What about the CCCRs, the continuing care community operations, which start from the beginning, as we say?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. I think that product, the new product, is doing very well. But that's, again, a big specialty. We don't do that. Mark doesn't do that. But there are national companies that do that, and they study the demographics carefully, and they've been successful in Connecticut.
That's really an operating business. You have to have the skill set.
Speaking of operating business, what about the hospitality industry, the hotel market, in certain towns? I'm not talking. I think you have to be specific in the area that you're talking about.
Very hard.
Okay, Yale, New Haven, I can understand it because you have the medical center. People go there. They come from around all over. It's like in, the Mayo Clinic. They go to Rochester, Minnesota for nothing else but the Mayo Clinic.
Right.
So hotels do well in that market because they have an opportunities for a set market over there. Have you ever gone into the hospitality business?
No. We are going into the independent living business, which is kind of like hotels, and we're going to do it with a partner because we don't know what we're doing operationally.
So what are you planning to do?
So we have a 200,000 square foot, 160 unit independent living facility, and we're partnering with a group that owns nursing home and a assisted living facility, and we'll do a joint venture. We own the land, and we got all the approvals. Took 8 years. And know enough of what we don't know. So
it's going to have all 3 tiers?
No, this is just be independent, but the group who's going to operate it in Fairfield County owns a nursing home and owns an assisted living facility.
You're basically the feeder.
Yes, yeah, exactly, right.
Okay, so you're the feeder moving it on.
And so the average age, guess what the average age of these things are?
85.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 55 and over, which helps you get the approvals.
Right.
Nobody 55 is going in.
Is going to move in there.
No.
No, but with people aging, people want to live longer, and they are living longer. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think Connecticut has always had a certain degree of independent living facilities over the years. They even had more than they had in New York and New Jersey. I think they were more open to it over there. What about people stepping down, leaving their big house and going into the suburbs for a smaller apartment? A luxury, smaller apartment. Are we
Happening
seeing
a
that?
lot.
Tell me about that. What's your
I reflected on it before. People don't want the responsibility anymore of worrying about their lawn, worrying about their roof. They have an enormous amount of equity in there that they built up in their house, so they sell their home, they pull their equity out, they give it to their financial advisor, and then they rent at a couple of $1,000s a month and decide what they're going to do then. We have people in some of our projects, Cromwell specifically, who have a home in Florida, but they might have kids in Connecticut, and they keep a little apartment there, sort of like a pied-à-terre, where they'll
Which is
come up.
perfect, right.
Yeah, they'll come up and they're not paying too much, and they have their home mostly in Florida, or the home that they
right,
own
so
is
they
in
have
Florida,
the opportunity to be the Florida resident if they're 6 months over there.
Which
one.
helps.
Yep.
Okay, which helps. It also gives them the opportunity of staying close to their family
Right.
over here. So I would say this, as I alluded recently on the show, I did a show on luxury development in Long Island. The Beechwood organization came out with these luxury apartments where people step down from their big houses to these apartments, which are renting in Long Island for $75 a month, per year. The rent is so much higher as opposed to $4 a square foot to 48. We're talking about close to six or $750
per foot.
per foot, because
Yeah.
people want these type of amenities over there. But it's interesting that you were talking about the assisted living, that it took 8 years to get the approvals.
Yes. Yeah.
Why do you think it took so long, or is it, maybe it's Governor Lamont, maybe there's a lot of changes taking place?
No, that's all local. So that the town of Fairfield, it's on a tidal basin. It has wetlands. So you go through all that stuff, and it takes years. Then COVID hit. That didn't help. So that's really why. It was a complicated problem.
What doesn't take long today is any residential development that has an affordable component to it.
And how many of those developments have an affordable component?
More and more we see recently. That the 830G program that you brought up
So
earlier.
the 830G programs allow the developer postponement on their real estate tax?
It gives
No.
them the ability to increase their density.
The height.
Development.
Not the height, the
Number of
the
units.
actual
Number of
density.
Unity.
But it has to
Units,
be, it has to be zoned residential.
Right, right.
And you have to have water and sewer. But the 830G is not around anymore. It's there, but people aren't using it. Now people are looking at a 10% affordability, and that 10% gives them a credit with the state, because the state is encouraging that each municipality have at least 10% of their units that are affordable.
housing
Now,
stock.
when they're affordable, are they at a certain percentage of the area median income?
Yes.
Yep.
What are they, 80%?
80% and
80% or
60%.
less, yes.
Yep.
Of area,
Two different levels.
and they have, and how many years do they have to remain affordable?
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
So it's permanent
Yep.
Yes.
affordability.
Yep.
They're loss leaders, essentially. because you
But
can't-
it's building necessary requirements. It's helping the community.
It's a good thing. I
Yes.
mean, you have,
Right.
firemen and teachers and, people that couldn't afford an apartment now can.
And look at all the people who work for the healthcare, as we were talking
Right.
about. New Haven,
Sure.
Danbury
That need a
Hospital,
place.
It's a good thing.
that need a place over there.
It's that workforce housing.
Right. Specifically over there, has Connecticut seen a large number of ambulatory care surgery centers or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. I would
And
say.
Yeah.
we've built one.
Yeah.
We have one in one of our buildings. Rented it to Surgical Centers of America. And the doctors own a portion of it. So it's basically the hospitals going to the people as
Right.
opposed to people going to the
hospital.
city hospital.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
I mean, what happens here in New York City today, you don't see too many new hospitals being built. You see more ambulatory care facilities.
Sure.
Like NYU just took over in the former Citicorp building. There used to be a Barnes & Nobles and a retail component. They took over 400,000 square feet and made that all ambulatory surgery and medical. Where's the next opportunity for the Belfonti companies over the next 5 years?
Well, we're looking in Florida. We've done a deal down there in Miami, actually, and now we have a project, piece of land that we're getting entitled on a place called Northport, which is near, on the West Coast, which is near Sarasota. So we're looking basically from Tampa down to Fort Myers, and I would say from West Palm down to Miami.
Yeah,
Those
but
are
the
the two
Connecticut
regions.
Yankees not leaving Connecticut.
No, I can't leave Connecticut.
Okay, and banking opportunities? Where
From the bank standpoint, I mean, we are a Connecticut bank, so we are certainly looking and focusing on Connecticut, but we have expanded that market to basically be the tri-state. And for us, it's about the relationship that you can garner with the customer. So it's not just
And
about.
these two guys you've been, and you guys, where do you see the next opportunity?
Well, our focus is to keep the buildings,
Occupied.
keep the buildings full.
Right.
That's a full-time job.
Right.
And then our goal
Yeah,
is.
but it sounds like you've been involved with new ventures like the assisted living and so on.
Yes, so we try to do one deal a year, new deal. You know, whether it's a warehouse, whether it's an expansion of a warehouse, or it will not be constructing an office building, I guarantee you.
So needless to say, I'd like to thank my executive producer for bringing everybody,
Thank you very much, Mike.
and thank you.
You're
See you
welcome.
next
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.